back to the Truckery Podcast. I'm John with Carrot Customs. We got Ryan with OBS Solutions. And today we're hanging out with Matt at Doc Johnson Restoration.
What's happening?
Which, if you haven't been under a rock, you've probably seen the Raptor 85.
Yeah, if you have anything to do with cars, trucks, automotive world, he's come through your feed at some point recently.
Sweet.
Yeah,
sweet.
I feel like.
Yeah.
So, we're just going to dive into it, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Right on.
Could go good, could go left, could go right. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ryan and I made informal list of things to chat about, but
that
obviously,
doesn't happen.
Yeah, it rarely ever actually goes that way. But yeah, I think we'll dive into the Raptor project in a little bit, but wanted to address that's what we're here for. The majority of we've both sponsored, parts for it. But I'm curious because we haven't really even talked about it that much. Is your background, how'd you get into this, and
that's John and I's most curious thing. Coming up here, we're we feel like we know you now because you see it on social media, and we've dealt with you on the business end of some of this stuff,
right?
But we've never really had any personal. You're just still a man of mystery, right? You popped out of nowhere.
Okay, so background on getting into this as a hobby / business, or this project with Ford.
No, not the project with Ford. Like you as a person. Where did you get into trucks?
Right. I actually started as a Toyota Dirtbag, believe it or not, and I had a
classic.
Yeah, classic.
Just for a note, off camera.
I think that's what they're called, though, Toyota guys, the mini truck guys that are just rock crawlers. I think dirtbag is a term of endearment.
They probably,
I think that's. I think we referred to ourselves as that. So this is not a negative term. This is just when you have $1,000 Toyota truck that you flop over on its side every weekend.
For fun.
You're a Toyota Dirtbag. Yeah. So the 22 RE that burns a quart of oil every hour, that kind of. That's what I started as.
In the off-road world?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just off-road world, rock crawler, square tube drive shafts, that.
Clanking everywhere you go, driving it down the road
Yes.
with it.
So I had a Ford Ranger, actually, prior to that. That was sick, actually. Looking back, it was it was a 5-speed. It was a overhead cam 4-liter, and it was high miles and worn out, and had really bad timing chain slap and all that. But that truck got to the timing chain slap got bad enough where I just didn't want to deal with it because there's a jack shaft in the back of the motor, and I wasn't that. I was young, and I was I didn't have the money, and I
have you ever done 4-liter stuff at all?
No, I haven't. Just preface: try not to touch the table because it all comes through the microphones.
Okay,
but it'll be fine. People will figure it out.
Anyways,
wish they'd quit touching the table.
Yeah.
So I had that truck, and I just decided I'm not. I don't want to even try to screw with it. So I sold it, and I bought I think it was $2,000, but it was a 1985 Toyota 4Runner.
Oh,
removable roof, solid axle, 5-speed, 22 RE, fuel injected, whatever. Great little truck, and it was, over the. Those have a golden reputation for being the most reliable kind of bomb-proof little powertrains. And after having a couple of them over a couple of years, I don't think that's true. I think they all blow up all the time, and they just
really?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're easy to fix.
They're easy to fix.
Toyota guys are it's no big deal. It blew a head gasket again, but it's easy to fix.
It's easy to fix, or just slap another motor in it, or they all have the timing chain problems, and with the so just having, if you're into trucks, you're into old cars, and I was really into rock crawling, just like had the 4.7 transfer case gears, and you don't have money, you're going to figure stuff out. Yep. And that's just what I was doing. So like all of my spare time after work was working on that.
What age were you
right out of college?
Gotcha.
Like right out of college.
Early 20s.
Or like 21, yeah.
Yep.
And had, so that was what I was doing every day. And then we'd go rock crawl it on the weekends. And yeah, like again, just lockers. And I like progressed in that truck actually, which is in Las Vegas, by the way, somewhere in Las Vegas, that truck. And there's a crazy story about a guy buying it off of eBay. And anyways, that's actually a cool story, but just getting into that. And then that truck blew up several times, like blew up several times. And one of the times it blew up, I was in the right place, right time. And my buddy, his name's Nap Time, that's not his real name, but he had an 86 F250 with a 300 in it and a 4-speed, and the pickup tube in the tank had rusted through, and he didn't know this, but it had rusted through. So like if it wasn't full of gas, it would run out of gas, so it had like a 1 gallon range.
Like somebody had left the thing sitting.
Yeah.
With no gas in the tank.
It just rusted a pinhole into the metal pickup tube. And he ran out of gas. He carried gas with him everywhere. And he just would run. He'd like go down the road like 12 miles and like run out of gas. And like go put gas in it. And he got so sick of that he's like, dude, will you come to the dealership with me? I need a car. So like went to trade it in. He bought a Corolla. He bought like his used Corolla at the dealership. And they were trying to give him $300 for his 86. And my Toyota had just blown up again, like rod knock, like horrible rod knock. And
you were still driving it.
Yeah. And they were trying to give him $300 for that truck. And he was like, dude, buy it from me. He was like $700. Like, no way. And he was like 500. All right, fine. So bought that truck and fixed it. And I have been telling him for months, I was like, it's probably like something in your pickup. Cause like, if you fill it with gas, it works. Like it's
right.
So like that afternoon I fixed it. and that 86 F250.
Cause you were pretty mechanical.
At this point, like I was doing everything. I wouldn't say I was even doing like my own, like welding up roll cages and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't like great at it, but like there was nothing I would pay someone to do.
Right. You
like
were ambitious. You were willing to try.
I was going to fuck it up like 4 or 5 times in a row.
Yep.
And then eventually figure it out.
John and I both delved into the world like the same way.
Like it before paying somebody even $20, just to like, so I fixed it in the driveway, and it was one of those, like, I had a steep driveway. I didn't have like any sort of correct jacks. The tank was full. I completely covered myself in gas doing it, just like doing the thing where you're like laying under it, trying to catch it, and, but that truck, I drove it for the next like 4 or 5 years, and it was just perfect. Like it was a 86. It had the 1-barrel carb on it. I towed project trucks or all sorts of stuff around with it, like I had a little crappy car trailer and, that I used for the rock crawler. And, so that was like my entrance back into the Ford world, I guess. Cause I had the Ranger, but the Ranger was just like when you're a kid and you just want a 4-wheel drive. And I had one too. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like what you get. Yeah.
Fun. My buddy got one, he's like 30 and he's like, I just want a Ranger to go beat the crap out of and not care about.
I had a Cherry 89 Ranger when I was like 16.
Yeah.
My dad gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then he didn't really give it to me. It was his. I got to drive it.
Right.
But
it's great.
With a 2.9.
Yeah, a little V6, the Vulcan or whatever. Yeah. So going back to the bullnose to the bullnose, and like that truck was such a beater. My dad has it still. My dad's got it he uses it to like haul sand and gravel. And it's like that 300 has, I don't know if it's original, but we found out when he went to register it after I gave it to him, because he went into the State Farm office and sat down, and they had a record of the original owner, which was this landscaping company, owning it until like 2001. And their last check-in with State Farm, it had 385,000 miles. So, and the odometer was at 55, whatever. So it was at least 450. And just
that's crazy.
Sterling rear end, 2-wheel drive, a T18 and a 300. And it was like, it didn't burn oil. It just, it didn't, it was just like incredible. And, I drove it. I was living in South Carolina at the time, and I drove it up to, when my wife and I kind of started talking, and her family and everything was in Virginia. I drove it up to Virginia a couple times. I towed her mom this Volkswagen Beetle up to Virginia with that truck.
You trusted it.
It never let me down. In fact, like,
crazy.
Literally never. Like, it had one point, the distributor hold down got super loose, whatever, and it was running really rough, and it was night, and we pulled over, popped the hood, and the whole exhaust manifold was glowing. The timing was so far off that it was like probably, I don't know how ever, anyways, it was running so bad that the whole exhaust manifold, you could see it in the dark, and fixed timing on the side of the road, and it never stopped. It didn't. I was like, oh man, that probably hurt it. No, it didn't. Nope. It didn't. Yeah, it just
Perfect.
didn't. Yeah, and so that was like where, like I fell in love with these trucks.
Yeah,
and that truck, like I'll put up a picture or whatever. I put up some stuff on that, but that truck's such a beater. Like it's every single panel. In fact, like when my buddy Jason bought it nap time, he got T-boned on the way home by some, I think they were drunk or high, but in a rental car, they T-boned him, and it never got fixed. Like the one side of it was just
still
totally crushed in. Yeah. And like, yeah. So that was like before I even had it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that truck, I ended up doing some elective stuff to it just because I was like, I put in a cam, an RV cam, which did nothing. If you have a 300, don't waste your time with that. I feel like just good to know. It doesn't do. I couldn't tell a difference. It has a long tube, like a hooker long tube on it now, which was kind of cool. I don't think it did anything, but it has a cool sound.
Yeah,
and
that's 90% of it, right? Like, if it makes cool sounds and you feel like you're going fast, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
And then did like some preventative stuff, just like the brakes and whatever, but that truck never had a problem with it. Never had to, fix the tank, and that was it. Like that was it.
So your love for these started a long time ago.
It started on these trucks. In fact, like there was you can look it up. It's called the 1,000-Year Flood. We're living on James Island in South Carolina during this event that was a like the type of rain event that they say happens every 1,000 years, and it flooded like up to our it flooded up to our door. A lot people died in that. Like people's whole houses were underwater. People were on roofs and stuff. We were just high enough where like the water came up to our door. That truck was on the street and it was underwater. Like the water was like up to the windshield. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. And it started after that. Like I had to like empty water out of certain places and stuff, but the whole exhaust was filled with water, and it just spit it all
cleared
out.
Itself out.
Like it has like actually, because that was salt water, a mix of salt water, because it was rain. But anyways, it has like a really crazy rust line like inside of the body now from that.
Yeah, from the flood.
Yeah. So
wow.
But it just is like unkillable, 300 bullnose truck, and always wanted to, and just didn't have any money, make something cool out of that truck. And like, so in that process, fell in love with the bullnoses long before, like an, OBS or a dent side or no. Yeah. And like the dent side trucks, like that's a separate story of like, I never like sought one out. I just sort of like happened, into these trucks and then fell in love with them. But after that, I got into like, I've got that Datsun. It's down at the other shop that has an LS in it and a T56. And that was a $1,400 car. And I put it together for my dad. Like I did free labor. He just bought the parts and, and a couple other little things. I was working I went back to school. So, for mechanical engineering. So I got a sociology degree first time in college, and like
we talked about those.
Which is
the universal degree that everybody gets.
You're like, your parents are like, will you please go to college? And you're like, all right, and then you get a sociology degree because But then I went back to school, so I was working and in engineering school, and then got I had a job like 35-ish hour a week, kind of big part-time job around school working at a speed shop. And so like that was my first like professional job, I guess, like mechanicking, but it was mostly old school stuff. A lot of LS swaps. This is when Coyotes were like really kind of in their heyday of we had every other day someone brand new from the dealership with like a Ford Mustang at the time, Coyote, coming in for all the bolt-ons, Pro Charger, exhaust, whatever. And that was like and I was really into LSs then, just because like you could, this was the era of, probably 2014 kind of time period where a 5.3 was $300, and it was like 120,000 mile 5.3. Yeah. And that just, you could
not 420,000 miles.
Right.
Now,
right.
For 1,000.
And so that was, I was like just all about it. Cause it was like a good power and reliability for the money. And, and like Coyotes were kind of too new. Godzilla was not even dreamed of yet. Maybe it was, but like just the Ford options at the time were kind of like non-existent for like a resto mod type. So you're not going to
swap a 460 fuel injected 460 into something.
No, some old Eek.
Yeah,
or a 5.4 Triton. Any of the modified line, like no.
Nobody, and they're huge. First off, they're like the Coyotes are too, but the Tritons are big.
Yeah,
it's like,
and they suck.
They suck. 302s were like if you were going to do a Ford swap, it was a 302.
Yep.
And like for less money, a 5.3, it just is better, and they could handle way more.
And you just run them on the rev limiter all day if you want to.
You can put
they don't care.
You can put nitrous to them and they live, and like you just So I was like I was like just sort of a Toyota guy still. Daily driving my bullnose to school. Had that Z car with an LS in it and a T56, and that car is really quick, because it's light. And then
you were doing all this while you worked at the speed shop.
And I had the 4Runner still, and at this point it had a Vortec 4.3 in it, and that I got out of like my buddy bought this rolled Blazer with like 50,000 miles on it. Like some kid got it from his grandma and like immediately rolled it, and we got it for nothing and put that Vortec 4.3 in it, adapted to the W56 Toyota. And dude, I'm telling you, for years trying to get Toyota engines to work in that thing, never had a problem after the 4.3 went in it. Like it just
that was a really small box Chevy. Like before LSs were even a thing, small box Chevys and 4.3s were a really big deal in the Toyota world.
Yeah.
Because the 4.3 was the V6, right?
Yeah, but it's just a small block with two missing cylinders.
It
exactly.
Is. And a big, like there's a big like, balance shaft kind of thing going on to make it work with but that was like a true Vortec 4.3. So like out of a 2000 or something like that. Whatever, like that era. And did like the Spider multi-port injection for it, like the little actual injectors instead of the distributor, the fuel distributor. Yeah. And it was actually really good after that. And then I started taking that truck like up to Virginia and back, which was like 8 hours, so it had 529 gears. It had 35-inch tires, it was the Toyota, like it was the dirtbag Toyota build. It had the Chevy 63-inch leaf springs in the back.
Yep.
Classic.
Rears up front, junkyard everything.
Yep.
And it had, at this point, I had a Yukon zip locker in the rear axle, and I had a Grizzly locker in the front axle. And
we're daily driving.
Well, no, I was daily driving the bullnose, but like in the last little bit, I had a working bullnose and a Chevy powered working 4Runner. And so it's like, I was doing good.
Yeah.
And my parents were in China, and my dad like finished his career in China, and like they had a car that they didn't want to sell when they went to China because they're only going to be there for a little bit. So I had a stewardship of that car. And then my now wife, Maria, her in a little like kind of passive aggressive move, the car that she had since high school, like was still in her folks' name. And when she moved in with me, they took it away. So she drove my dad's, like it was an old car, but she drove my dad's car.
So you were in school in Virginia? Is that
no, this was all in South Carolina.
Gotcha.
Yep. So anyways, so yeah, we had the car that was my dad's car, Maria was driving, and then I had my 85 and my 86. And this is in coastal South Carolina, no air conditioning. Horrible.
Humid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
95 degrees, 95% humidity, just like
I would die.
I can't like my folks live there. I can't like even go visit unless it's the like.
Well, you're down here. You're in such a polar opposite climate.
Yeah.
With how dry it is here versus there.
Yeah.
Like you're not even in a humid part of Oregon.
No. Like so dry. Yeah.
This is the drier. This makes Bend feel humid.
Yes.
It's dry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that was like kind of getting into it. And then I had an E30 BMW. I've had a couple. Yeah.
We talked about that.
That was cool. I built a motor for that. That was actually it was the 2.5 inline 6, I think the M20.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it had the little 5-speed Getrag 360 or whatever it was. And little, what was that clutch kit from? But that was all working at the speed shop. And that was actually like I had CP pistons or Eagle rods. It had the factory, it had a forged crank. Like I had a factory, I think out of a diesel or something like that. And so that was a sweet little motor. And I sold that car when our first son was born. And I like kind of wish I didn't, but it was a little
because it's worth 3 times as much.
Oh my God, if not more.
E30s
have
so much skyrocket.
It was a coupe, and it was banana yellow. Somebody had repainted it banana yellow. I had it was good. It was really good.
So you're like a long time
tinkerer. Yep, that's all I was.
From a young age.
Oh yeah.
This all started as you've always been a
tinkerer.
Yeah. Perpetual tinkerer.
And then fast forward, we just had beaters. So yeah, like if you have beaters, you either figure out how to fix them to get places, or you have to pay somebody.
I think John comes from the same. I did that too. I was into Samurais, and
I had a Samurai.
I was a big Samurai guy.
I had a Samurai, Toyota axles.
I always joke around like I'm going to just out of principle, I'm going to own one again someday.
They're sick.
They're so good.
They're so good. They're literally
Yet they're so bad. They're just head gasket eating machines.
Mine. I fixed the head gasket on that one after fixing it right with like 3 bottles of Blue Devil.
Yeah.
And but I pulled the head. I got it machined. I like checked the block, did it everything right, and it got hot one time, and it was back to blown head gasket.
Yep.
And I just blue deviled it up, and that was it.
And it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
But John and I have the same background. From a young age.
Yeah.
I had no money, and I loved samurai, so I always was a tinkerer too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never, up until a year and a half ago, have never had a car newer than 2003.
Yeah.
And finally replaced my wife's Audi that had 293,000 miles on it that we still have and still drive.
Still come all the way over.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the Audi, he'll come over to my shop to pick up parts.
In the Audi.
We've put 1,500 pound pallets in the back of the Audi.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. In the wintertime, and then he'll drive it back over the pass.
That's actually amazing, considering.
We've
I did
stacked
TDI swap it, so that
okay.
makes a difference. But yeah, I mean, that car just, we'll put it on the bump stops, and I don't even know what those tires are rated for. They're on 19-inch wheels.
There's sometimes we might have got more, literally the pallet's tall enough to where we can't get them through the door, so we take stuff off the top of the pallet, stick it in the back of the Audi, and then pile all the other parts around the thing.
Well,
it just goes.
The thing is like at part of high school, I lived in Singapore and went to Singapore American School.
Oh,
and
nice.
So Singapore's super first world, but all surrounding Southeast Asia, which is like Singapore's, the country is the size of probably the city of Bend. It's 19 miles across.
Yeah.
That's the whole country. And all the surrounding Southeast Asia countries are super easy to get to. So we went everywhere. And we're just so used to thinking you need this 3/4 ton or 1 ton pickup truck. And dude, I have pictures. They'll have pigs strapped, and they're on a moped, and they've got a pig on this thing with a pig on it.
Yeah.
Or I saw this guy with maybe 50 or 60 chickens all rigged up by their feet, live chickens, in this thing he had going off of his shoulders on the and it just they just putting something in a car, they would look at that and be like,
no problem.
Oh my God. You have a car to put
and it's a wagon.
Yeah.
So they're man, this guy's got tons of room.
It is. And even in developed countries, my buddy James over in the UK.
Yeah.
When I went and saw him, he's like, oh yeah, I got to go pick up my mini excavator from buddy's house down the hill. So we hop in his Land Rover Defender 90 with a 2.5 liter TDI.
Yeah.
And this is that's a small vehicle.
Yeah.
And cruise down the hill, load a mini excavator on a trailer, and he just rods it back up the hill to his place, and EGTs, don't worry about it. And he'll tow a mini excavator with his BMW 5 Series wagon, an 08,
that's why they have bump stops.
Yeah.
Just getting it done.
It just, and that's normal over there. A 2.5 liter TDI, old Land Rover, is the equivalent of America's Dodge Cummins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked for totally forgot about this shop called Relic Imports. I think they're still around. But we were importing Defenders, and we did a couple LS swaps on those. Because it had a Buick based V6 or V8 in them, little gas, all aluminum. Garbage. The Land Rover one was the 2.5 was actually great. That was a great motor. And we got one. It's worth looking up. Jalopnik or Doug DeMoro, is that the guy?
Yep.
Doug DeMoro came down and did an article on one of the ones we got in. We had this 6x6 ambulance. It was a fire ambulance that we imported, and that one got auctioned off. But Doug DeMoro came down and did a whole thing on it, and I know it's still online, but yeah, they're cool. They're just Land Rovers. There's a lot about them that's really awesome, but they're the build, they're like an FJ40 a lot. There's like they're not built to be, they're one of those things that like sells for a ton of money, but it's like, it's pretty junky.
Only over here they sell for a ton of money.
Yeah, because over there they were built as a tool.
Yes,
as a tool.
They're
a tool.
Just
they're a tool. Land Cruisers and all that stuff, they were all built as a tool.
Like a farm truck. Yeah.
Or you had to get in a remote area and haul tools and equipment. Like that's what those things were built for. They weren't built to put big wheels on them and tint the windows and drive them around in the city.
No. Yeah, and have your kids in the back and
that's what that stuff was never intended for that.
They weren't. They're aluminum bodies though, which is really nice because they like none of them were rusted up,
Yeah,
right.
And there's a lot about them. The axles are not strong. They're like the
axle shafts are made of glass.
They are.
Seems like
they're tiny. They're tiny. They're like 10 spline or something. Whatever they are, they break all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they have. Some of them had a good transfer case, and like with an LS swap like that, you could do a 4L80 adapter to that transfer case, and like that part of it hung together. The axles broke.
Yeah,
but there's a lot anyways, did work there. Land Rover, Defender importing and kind of whatever.
And were you doing that while you were still in school too?
I was actually for a period just working for that outfit, but I was like moonlighting there while working at the speed shop
and going to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and tinkering on your own stuff.
And tinkering. Yeah.
Are you a mechanical engineer?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So, but yeah, anyways, that all kind of just happened until I did it as a job, like in school, and then coming back when we moved out here to Oregon. I had been working, we were living in Iowa, we lived in Iowa for 3 years, Northwest Iowa right on the Missouri River. And we had acreage and it was pretty dang cool. Like some of those big whitetail bucks, that was right on the property, like archery season. It was really cool for like that. In the bluffs there, they're like,
so how'd you end up from South Carolina to Iowa?
My wife's residency.
Gotcha.
So, and
but you kind of at that point, when you get a residency, you go wherever, wherever they tell you.
Yeah. So that's wherever where we were there, and we were less than a half mile from South Dakota, so in like that little corner,
right?
And I was mostly actually just like mostly not screwing around with stuff during that time, and got really into hunting. And then I was full-time, I had a career as a mechanical engineer.
Because you don't make money in your residency, right?
Well, they pay you, but it's like slave wages.
It's like enough to survive. Yes.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like just, and the amount of hours they work, it's probably a lot less than minimum.
Right.
It was.
So you were you went to work as a mechanical engineer to subsidize her being in their residency.
Yes. Yeah. I was working, and I was doing emergency response to natural gas and gone most of the time. Like I would be all over the country on like individual. We did like pipeline integrity, but emergency response pipeline integrity stuff. And like, so I'd be out working on like some compressor station in Pennsylvania or like down in Florida, we did a lot of work in California originally, and then we like pulled out of California entirely just because they made even like setting up a job just impossible,
right?
So it's like,
so at that time you and your wife didn't see each other very often between the amount of hours she worked and you were out of town,
like a week out of the month,
right? Yeah, that's tough.
And then when we bought that, it was like a farmhouse that we bought, and like my time back home, I was just doing like flooring or like like pulling a wall out, or so I wasn't messing around. I had a 2001 Tundra, and it was actually great.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. My sister in Colorado has that truck now. It's got, it's like probably pushing 300,000 miles. And
you guys keep a lot of vehicles in your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But that, so, and then my wife had a 98 4Runner that was also bought for $2,700 and like needed a timing belt and a couple other things. And, then we sold that during COVID for almost 11 grand. Like after putting 100,000+ miles on it. And,
that's so crazy.
So
it's insane.
Just doing that. I was totally not, I'm going to try to fast forward this story, but I wasn't doing really any projecting vehicle stuff at all. Did a little bit. I like built some bumpers for that 4Runner, built like a tire swing out for the rear and like just couple little fabrication jobs. And like, we came out here after she finished her residency.
When did you guys come out? What year?
2020. Came out here in 2020.
I mean, not super long ago.
Not super long ago. And we had my oldest son was 6 years old, or he's 6 years old now. He was just born. I sold the E30 to pay for him. And we came out here
to pay for him.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I my 85 4Runner, that's my wife's engagement ring.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that went on eBay, and that became my wife's engagement ring. And
hopefully she kept it.
She's got it. She still got it. But we came out here. We bought this place, and like actually backtrack a little bit. The house in South Carolina, I bought that house in South Carolina for nothing. And like, if you know anything about Charleston, South Carolina, like the market has exploded. So we killed it on that house.
Nice.
And like, so we were set up in a position to buy this place.
So, you had kept that house this whole time?
No, we sold it when we went to Iowa, but like we had money in the bank, and we were still driving those old trucks or whatever. And, but we came out here, this shop was here. And then, my wife started working. She's working for the hospital. And, it was really difficult. And I did it for a little bit because like you got to drive almost 2 hours to the airport in general. And we couldn't find childcare. It was the middle of COVID. My wife's working. The neighbor across the street, one of the teenagers, like she was babysitting because all school was canceled for like a year.
Gotcha. And did you still have the job that you had when you were in Iowa?
Yeah, because it didn't matter. It was travel work, and like I'd like fly to wherever and pick up like some equipment and like go to a job site, and like it'd be and so I did that for a few months, and then, we were unable to find reliable childcare, and we're like, okay, we got to figure out something, and my wife's a physician. She's working at the hospital, and like, I was like, made more sense for me to stay home.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm home with the kid. I have this shop. And it was like, and it'd been a few years since like really having a project. And we didn't have like a lot of spare money, but Maria had got a new car, not new, she had an 06, right. So I was like, I had the 98 4Runner, and I was like, I'm going to solid axle swap that 4Runner and just dirt bag it up and like, put my kid in like the very middle back seat. We're just going to rock crawl this thing around and like whatever. And I bought this 77 F-150 for $600 that I was going to I was just going to rob the axles out of it because it's a driver's side drop. It's like a high pinion 44. I was like, I can run like 37s.
Right.
With the Ford 9-inch, it'll be great. And I got it home, threw it in the shop right here. And then that next morning, like my oldest kid's like taking his first nap of the day. He was only like, 10 months old at this point. I came out to like start ripping it apart, open the door, and like it just like looked sad. The truck was like just sitting in there, and I was like, oh, so I just like felt really bad about it, and I like put a battery in it. And I like
emotional connection.
I put a battery in it, and I was like, well, whatever, we'll see. I like turned the key on, and like the radio came on, like the AM radio came on, and it was like some old song playing through like the one dash speaker.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it. And so I built that truck,
Nice.
And did it with parts I had brought out here that, like working at the speed shop, anytime somebody had wanted something replaced that was like, I'd pull it off and be like, this is fine.
What are you doing with this?
Yeah, like this is fine. So I had this giant whole like shelving full of parts that were like basically all LS stuff. It was like a good water pump, a good alternator, good brackets, good. I had tons of gauge stuff. I had a full like wire harness for an engine, and so I was like, screw it. I bought a 5.3. Just bought a whatever it was, $700, and it had an NP435. I used a GM. I still have one. There's right there, an SM465 bell housing. You can use a little Novak sells a little spacer ring, some advanced adapters parts, a clutch flywheel off of a 2000 Silverado NV, which is the bigger spacing, Ford friction disc, Chevy pressure plate, and there's a special pilot bushing you by that's long, and like I just made some motor mounts, and like for nothing, I had a 5.3, because the 351 that was in there was a modified. It was clapped, I got it running actually, but it was like had no compression and it was just smoking like a chimney. And I almost thought about rebuilding that, but they're just like, there's no support for those.
No.
There's just no support for those. So anyways,
not really.
Yeah. I put that 5.3 in this old 77, and that truck just like wanted to live. And so then I started driving that out. It did. I started driving that out to like I went out to like Baker City a couple times in it, and it got really good fuel economy, like crazy good fuel economy. And that was just kind of how this all started. I started putting a couple things up on social media. I bought 5 Land Cruisers from this one guy, FJ40 Land Cruisers, $500 a piece,
Jeez.
And just like, yeah.
You're
and
they were very thrifty. Like, I know before this, we were trying not to talk about a bunch of stuff before because we wanted to be on here. Like even some of the small like you are very thrifty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not good at like, you do the research and you know what parts to get and.
Yeah, that's right. So like that I just told my buddy right down the road who's doing that, Dane. He's doing that really cool. I've shared his thing a couple times. He's got a 78 F250 with a DT360 going in it and the ZF6. And like, I just showed him my little concoction of a hydraulic clutch the other day. So what I did for that truck was I had the Chevy bell housing that was a later one that had the hydraulic slave on it, and used a ZF5 master. I like made a firewall reinforcement plate, and then found like all the little fittings to use a -3, AN hose instead of the little kit that it comes with. And so like just to run and it was like a Jeep. I think I ended up using like a Jeep slave cylinder from like an Iron Duke Jeep, Anyways, but I've always figured out stuff like that. Even my E30, I had like Camaro shocks on the back because they because they were like, $30,
right.
But they were
awesome.
Like
you've made a lot happen with a little.
Yeah. So that whole truck, that 77 like was really good, and I got like the entire truck built for like less than $6,000, like including tires and stuff, and buying the truck. And like that's $6,000's kind of like might sound like a lot, but it's like to be able to have a truck where like it fires right up and you can drive 10 hours in it and it doesn't drop any.
There's a lot to be said.
There's a lot to, and I rebuilt the axles, and I did differential stuff, like going way back to the Toyota days. And then in the speed shop, that was one of my, that was like my role, kind of specialty role. I was like the diff guy, a lot of,
because nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it. And I don't even like doing it. I do them just because I don't want to pay someone else to do it. But
same.
It's a necessity.
The only reason I do that.
Pull them apart and the bearing pullers and whatever. And
gear oil stinks. It's like a smell that doesn't come out of your nose.
Yeah, it doesn't come out of your clothes.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
That the baked gear oil smell.
Yeah.
So you in like you guys moved here in 06?
2020. Moved here in 2020.
Yeah. 2020. So 6 years. I was
6 years.
Yeah. And then you have barely done mechanical engineering since you've been here.
No, it was worthless to go. Yeah. Like but you know what? Like that's life. Like you just.
But it helped you through a phase, right?
Yeah.
At a certain point, it helped you through the phase of your wife going through residency and all that.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it was good for that time. And like the town we lived in, there wasn't really too much. It was probably in a lot of ways, like a lot like here. It was like an agricultural town with like a lot of like livestock kind of, you know, so there's not like, unless I couldn't have found a job locally that would have paid what I was making. Right. Like doing the emergency response work. Right. Like I couldn't have, you know.
Right. And it's the same, it's same here in Klamath Falls.
It is.
It's mainly agricultural. If you don't know anything about, like this place is farming, some logging, and like.
We're one of the poorest counties in Oregon.
Right.
Like, and it's, you know, there's not, but.
So how do you, I don't know most people probably don't know. I mean, some people do that. You have a shop, right? Like,
yes. I have a shop 6225 South 6th, right next to Home Depot.
Nice. How does that thing start? Like, so you go from messing around with these trucks here, right? When you moved here. How do you go from like that to like, hey, I think I'm just going to start my own shop?
that was
because it seems like a big jump, right? From tinkering with rigs to like, going
totally.
full in on this.
Just like everything, I sort of fell into it, and I had an employee up here, like, and this is after, so I started just putting stuff, and I wasn't really taking work. I thought when I started this LLC in 21 or 22.
And that's the Doc Johnson.
Doc Johnson Restorations, yep. And I thought at that time, I had just bought all these Land Cruisers, and I was like, what this LLC is going to be is I will just build one and auction it off, and build one and auction it off, and like
build them your way, and you don't have to deal with customers. Right. It's the easy way to do it.
And make a little bit of money, and like, and if it doesn't work out, then at least it'll be like a tax offset against, like, we'll just at the end of the year, like, I lost money in my LLC, we'll get a little back, you know?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I started putting a few things on Instagram, and no one gave a crap about the Land Cruisers. And everyone liked my crappy 77 Ford. And I was like, what the heck, you know?
Yeah.
And like the fact that I had this like beater truck and it was pretty cool. Like I had a winch in the front bumper that I made, like just like the rear winch, I made this like bumper in the factory cavity, you know, winch. So it was like a factory bumper, the license plate hit it, right, you know, all that. There was a few things that like grabbed attention on that truck. It had a 5.3 in it, which was like, you know, and I will never put a Chevy engine in a Ford again. Like I'm at that stage now where like, I won't, but
I will.
But it got like the perfect amount of hate.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
We've all had this. Yeah. Hate is good.
Hate. Yeah. So that
hate what any of us do all you want. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So just comment and tell us how much you hate it.
Share it and with people and tell other people how much you hate it. Thank you.
So there was this, you know, this is all going on Instagram. I haven't taken any customer work really. There's a few people in town that I know from like just various, you know, just like meeting people and various events and different things.
Right. And you're doing projects and you're being resourceful. So you're going around town asking people who they know and where you can get stuff.
Right. And I'm going to like Cars and Coffee and stuff like that. And so there was a few things that like I just word of mouth started doing little things for people up here. And it was like actually pretty good money, like just doing like, hey, can you rebuild the front end of my, you know, 2011 Dodge?
Right.
I'm like, sure.
And you don't have a lot of overhead here, and you're just tinkering on your
zero over it. Like, well, just our mortgage, you know?
Right.
And so started doing that. And then there was a guy in Seattle, this awesome dude named Reed that had an LS2 in his 79 F350.
That asshole.
Yeah, I know. And he hit me up and he's like, I've always wanted this truck to be 4-wheel drive. Can you make it 4-wheel drive? And I was like, he's super excited about that because that was like just a cool project. And he's like, can we just do it? Like, let's just do it as, kind of most bang for buck, like as simple. Just
and you're the guy for that.
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah,
no.
So I quoted him, and what I look back at is like the greatest underquote of all time. I probably made $12 an hour on that job.
Been there,
yeah,
numerous times.
Yes, we've all done that.
Yeah, I've done it a bunch, but it was Super Duty leaf springs. I made all the brackets for it to be bolt on. And
you made these yourself?
Made them here, just
torch grinder, drill press.
What do they call it? CAD, cardboard aided design.
Yeah.
I call it CAD board.
I say
CAD board. Yeah.
If you haven't learned to fabricate and be an artist with a 4.5-inch cutoff wheel or grinder, then you don't.
Yeah.
You haven't done.
Like, you can't skip that.
If you start with a CNC machine and CAD, like, you don't understand what it takes to get to that.
Oh my gosh.
Point.
My early days, like fabricating, I actually had a buddy. He now owns a company called Total Metal Innovations. They do like bead locks, and they're doing like billet transfer cases. He's doing all kinds of cool stuff now.
Rad, yeah.
But him and I used to, we would talk to each other about the best cardboard to use.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I found this place that has this cardboard. It's super thick. Like, that was the conversation. It wasn't like, hey, are you using Fusion? Are you using Solid? It was like, what cardboard are you using?
No, it works.
Yes.
It works. It 100% works. And that truck's, we're going to do coils on that. Like that, I have that down at the other shop now. We're going to do a coil conversion on that finally, which is really cool. So it's like, but it actually like ended up working great. And it rides Super Duty Leafs. It rides good. There was nothing wrong with it. And, even Super Duty Leafs like flex pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like it
when you have the shackle angles set correct. Yeah. They're not bad.
And they're pretty long, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are. They're long. So that, and he drove that truck back up to Seattle from here. Like after, and then he even came back down with it.
Which that's a long drive.
And towed his boat with it.
That's 10 hours almost, right?
He towed his boat with it.
Yeah, 10-ish.
Yep. So it's, it ended up working out really good, but we're going to do it. I think the right way to do it now, I would say the right way to do it is coils.
Right.
Just because it's
like. And you did that here?
I did that here. Yeah.
And that's before the step to your shop that you have in town.
Yep. So after that truck, I got an employee up here. We did a few jobs, some of which were like, and this is like, I'm trying to figure out how to quote jobs. I still don't know how to do it. Right. I'm a terrible businessman. Like I've never quoted correctly. There's always just stuff that and stuff comes up on every old truck, and it's just different on every old truck. And you have to have, if you're going to do
John
this.
John used to do a lot of like custom job install stuff too.
You can't. It's like, unless you have like just so much fluff built in right away, like you can't foresee the unique thing that's going to come up.
Right. And you're so afraid of losing the customer because you're like, man, if I put all this stuff in, they're not going to have me do it.
Yes.
Right. Because somebody else who doesn't know how to bid
is going to
bid it for way cheaper.
Yeah.
And then either do it for that price and hate their lives.
Somebody like me.
It's going to you and me both. I quoted that fire truck project that we did. Like absurdly cheap. And I mean, I legitimately at the end of it could have made more money working at McDonald's.
Yep.
And I'm not complaining because it was a big like it helped me a lot, and I learned a ton, and I still have like a great relationship with that guy. Like he's one of my good buddies.
You kind of have to mess some things up to learn, right?
You gotta
it's no different than anything, especially when you're tinkering with stuff and doing different things. Like that's part of the learning process.
Yeah.
Well,
screwing things up
and spending a
100%.
lot of time on something that is not like, if you're going to spend the time on it, and this is where I'm at now, don't put leaf springs, like in on a front setup. Like it's like you're doing a 4-wheel drive conversion, you're spending a lot of time on it. Like the cost of coils and making that work is you're in the hundreds of dollars difference. Right. It's
really
like,
you are.
Yeah. And it's just like, but you can't, when you're like, I have to save every single penny or whatever. And coming from the Toyota
you
world,
always leaf springs are cheap, right?
Yeah.
And in the Toyota world back in the day,
that's all you would ever do.
There wasn't like boingy spring options. It was leaf springs, or you had to do coilovers.
Yeah.
And back then, coilovers, you were probably like, no way, right?
No way. Because I got the Chevy springs for free. Yeah. And I used my old rear springs.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're not going to spend money on it, period, just to.
So then so this starts Doc Johnson's restorations, right? Like you start doing some customer jobs.
So that's right.
Tax stuff. How do you go from tinkering here to like, hey man, I think I'm going to have a full blown shop in town?
Well, so that red Gorilla truck, that truck we built for a customer, and that is an awesome truck. That was a nut and bolt resto mod, like everything done. And it turned out super good. It has a Godzilla in it, has a ZF6. It has a Super Duty transfer case.
I think that's some of the first stuff that I like came across my Instagram, social media, like made me aware of you, because I was like, I was really interested in the Godzilla stuff.
Yeah.
Man, this guy's doing Godzilla stuff. Oh, and he's in Oregon too. Right? Like, I kind of started following you along with you back then too.
So that truck was the customer that we did that for is semi-local. He lives in Northern California. And
if people don't know, Klamath Falls is really close to California.
25 miles or whatever to California from here. And so he was, he's like an hour away or maybe even less. And we did that truck for him. And they were in the process of, and they have a bunch of stuff going on, him and his dad, where they're doing all sorts of different ventures. And this old building next to the Home Depot used to be Big R. They got that building for pennies. Like they were just right place, right time. They picked up that building, and for months, for like probably over 6 months, they're like, hey, you need to just set up in this building. And I'm like, I was about it, and then I was like back and forth.
I've lost money on the last 3 jobs I did. How am I going to afford a building?
That's what I was like, and then that's what I said. I was like, I just can't. And eventually they're like, we'll give you a free year in the building. I was like, done. Done.
A free
year in the building. So
like I can figure out how to make this work at this point.
Yes. So it was like, if I can't figure it out, then like I guess I just cut my losses and sell.
And say, hey, sorry guys, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. And, but they've been super awesome. So moved down into that building and like thinking we're going to expand the resto mod, Ford, Coyote, Godzilla, kind of that venture of the business. And coming to find out that like really where the money is, if you're a business owner, is just diesel repair work. That's, I've lost money on every single one of these.
Because a lot of that stuff is
every one of them
is straightforward, right? There's a you can go off book time, all that stuff, right? Like you know what to charge because you kind of know what everybody else is charging.
And then you have like some mechanics that are really familiar with like, okay, they've already done that job 7 times, and there's book hour, and then there's like they beat book hour by like 3 hours, and it's just money in the bank, and like
it's easier to find employees to help you there.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing that like I've come to find out too, is this this is really hard to scale because I thought you can hire mechanics and they can do this, but it's like a different mentality because I'm not a good mechanic. Like but I'm good at this. But like if it's like you got to replace the water pump.
I like your honesty. I'm not a good mechanic.
No, like I mean I'll get it. Like I'll like do it, but like if it's like this needs like a power steering pump or whatever, like it takes me 3 times as long as any mechanics to do it.
I'm the same. I'm a terrible mechanic.
Like, but I can like do this pretty quickly. Somehow it's different. Somehow it's different.
I get it. It's different.
I don't know why, but so
did that shop? So what was what's a bit?
It was like coastal.
Oh, gotcha.
It was like coastal farm and ranch.
I kind of thought that.
Like a Tractor
Supply. So it
Supply.
had no infrastructure in the building.
No,
when you got it.
Nope, it had nothing in there.
You walked into this big empty building.
Building. So we set up. We have 7 lifts down in there, and I bought everything like out of my life savings. I haven't taken out a loan.
You winged
it. Just winged it, and it's like starting to make money now, which is great. But basically, the one thing I've realized is that the like Restomod Ford game, which I thought was going to be the business. That can't
because it sounds fun, right?
It sounds fun.
It sounds so.
We
good.
all want to do fun stuff for a living. At the end of the day, like that's every boy's dream or even girl's dream is like, I want to do something fun and make really good money doing it.
You can't. Well, maybe you can. I can't.
Or you take something that you thought was fun and make it your full-time job, and it's not as fun as it was.
It's not as fun. The second that you're doing it for a customer, like it loses its like, you lose your artistic expression. That's
that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Your freedom.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you don't have any freedom.
At 11 p.m. when I come across something and I'm working on this, I want to be able to just make a snap decision and like change what I like, pivot or whatever to figure it out and not have to like just, oh God, how am I going to, how am I going to tell this to this guy and where he's willing to pay for it? And, and it's like,
How long ago did you get the building?
We moved in there in November. So
really recently.
Really recently.
So you're still free rent.
Free rent. I'm free rent, and
so bring your stuff down there. If you're in the Klamath Basin area.
So, but thank God for that, because honestly, like that, there was a month after month after month where I just hemorrhaged money. Like it was like because you got to pay employees every week, no matter what.
They'll leave. Most employees base their life on their paycheck every week.
That's it. And like they should. They got no skin in the game. Like
I wouldn't work anyway. Yeah. If I didn't get a paycheck one day, I'd be out.
Yeah.
But those paychecks were just coming out of my savings account, And
you're not taking any money.
I haven't made a dime.
Right.
Literally. Like the shop's starting to, but like before, like I got to pay myself back, for all the equipment.
I've said that when I've started my business. I've still never paid myself back $1.
Yeah. But I can't even imagine what I would owe myself.
A lot.
I know a couple times when I put big chunks into my business, like I still remember how much I put in these really big chunks, but I keep saying someday I'll pay myself back.
Yeah, and then there's the stuff that you don't even think about because every single day you run down to Harbor Freight and spend another $900, and like it just is like,
or you got to call the electrician because your guys are like, "Hey, I need a plug over here."
Right.
Like,
literally,
can you just run a cord? But you don't want cords across the floor, so you're like, "Okay."
We have some cords across the floor right now. I got a fun little side story about the county putting a stop work order on us and them. They're crooks. I mean, they're
here.
Yeah, the county's crooks here, and I've got some like commissioner and the Board of Economic Development helping, but the long story short, like that building's been vacant for 14 years, 20, something like that. And, or whatever. There was a Spirit Halloween in there for like a tiny period of time, but
classic.
But it's a vacant building. We're 36 out of 38 counties economic development in Oregon. We're doing terrible. And
They should be almost paying you to put a business in there.
I went into the county, into the building and zoning department before setting up stuff in there and just cleared it. I asked them, and I should have, this is a live and learn. I should have got something in writing, but I told them the address. I told them what I was doing, and they told me I was in industrial zoning, like, or commercial zoning or whatever they called it. Like, I'm good, I got to go ahead. And then a few months later, no letter in the mail, no phone call. Guy comes out, slaps the stop work order right on the front door. And so I go in there, and there's like one guy in particular, actually, they're trying to get me to put in a oil separator system in between the building and the sewer, but there's no drains in the floor. So it's like, what we're doing is, if anytime like oil goes into a receptacle, gets recycled, anytime there's spillage, we use the oil dry,
right?
It goes in the plastic bag, it gets like disposed of properly. There's literally no runoff. Like,
are they worried about like rinsing stuff off in sinks or something? Like,
I will tell you what they're worried about. They get 12%, and then it's actually a sliding scale, but they get 12% like levy on any money spent on stuff like that. And they're just and it's a $20,000 something system that he's like telling me I have to put in. And so that, anyways, it's like criminal. And like but I've heard the same story is all across. I've talked to a bunch of business owners. They're the reason we're having a hard time as much as like anything else. And that's, and it's people that, if there was a prerequisite to that position at the building department of having ever even worked, maybe, or like having owned a business, I think they're seeing it from, it's a perspective that like doesn't include like, there's people being employed here, they're paying taxes, they're paying, they're paying insurance companies, they're supporting the parts stores locally, they're supporting drivers, they're supporting, they're missing all of that.
They forget that they work for us.
That's too.
And when you get an annual budget, it's easy to come in and tell somebody like, you need to put this system in, because if they need to do that at the county, the taxpayers are paying for it.
Right.
But so in their mind, it's like, well, you just need to do it.
You need to do it.
Yeah, if we need to do it, we just do it.
The general, not to make this sound like bad, but like the general observation of a business owner is like, oh, you own a business, that means you're rich.
No,
we're broke. I don't think people understand how broke we are.
Yeah, you can't just pull $20K out of nowhere to put in this separator system that isn't even necessary.
Don't have it. I don't have the money for it.
Yeah, you're in a spot right now. Like, if it doesn't make you money, you can't afford to spend money on it.
You can't. Yeah. You can't. And like, I already I spent basically like everything outside of like 401k on. I've like spent all my money, I
don't know if John's in the same boat. I have no retirement at this point with my business. Like, I've spent it all too.
Yeah. And it needs to, they need to, and I think it will work out because I've got, basically the county commissioners I've talked to, and then the Klamath County Board of Economic Development. They're all like, this is our biggest problem. Like, help, let's try to help,
So you're operational, right?
Yes.
They've given you occupancy and you're ready to go.
I don't know if they I don't know if we're like technically even like allowed to be operating. Like, to be honest, because they put the stop work order in the building, and then I got an email that I didn't respond to from that same guy recently that was like, I'm pulling your permit or something. I was like,
whatever, you have to make. Now you're so invested in it, you have to,
like, what, just whatever, But that, anyways, that's been like the hardest thing to deal with is the county, and it's really, especially coming from like South Carolina and then Iowa, like places that are like, how can we help this business?
What do we need to do?
And just like, this is it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And and we're just like, we got like drifters that break into the fence at night, and they like, can we just start there? Can we like, or anyways, getting off topic, but
because we don't want to, John and I have some opinions. We try to stay away from it because it's a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole. And I mean, it's just tough though. Like, it's like nobody like right now wants to be a business owner because you've got such a mountain to.
It's too hard. Yeah. It's hard.
It's like, why bother? Why bother? And just to lose money, especially. But I'm a terrible businessman. That is what I've come to. And so what I'm attempting to do right now is pass the business off in a large way to a couple of my employees with like profit sharing, and then just basically be up here doing these kind of projects
and assist them along the way.
Yes.
Yep.
Assist them along the way. Be like, I love we do like car shows and stuff at that building. I love that,
Oh,
like,
is that where you do?
Yep. The cars and coffee.
I didn't know that was at your building. Yep. That's cool.
So
That's
it's nice. Like, there's stuff, and there's a lot of like really cool benefits. I love that we got a super good team right now as far as like everybody gets along, and it's like just good vibes down in there. And like all of that part like makes it worth it, I guess. And, we're in a position right now where like the numbers should all work out, once you have to start paying, like it should all work out as long as something crazy doesn't happen, getting things in and out. But the rest of my jobs, I will probably never bid one again. I've actually told like hundreds of people that, just because it's not, and I mean, it's like if they go sideways, it's like being stuck in a bad relationship, like when they're great, but like there's no way to know it.
And the problem is when they go sideways, somebody that could have been a really good friend of yours at the end of the process may not be a friend of yours.
Yeah. But the craziest thing is, and this is like my life's goal right now, is I've heard from a number of people, and John, this is probably true for like, you probably have heard this, that the majority of people that like spend money on a DIY kit don't ever do it. It like goes like a lot of these, like, they're going to do some cool thing with the motor or suspension or whatever. Like a lot of them just end up sitting in the garage for a few years, and then they sell the truck or whatever.
Because they realize it's actually a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. But like, so my goal right now is to like maybe through these projects motivate even just a few of those people to say, screw it, dude, I'm going to go do that.
Even if John and I talked about this on the way down here, just YouTube stuff, like talking about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and videoing the process motivates people.
Yeah.
Like, there's a guy, Northwest Moto Garage. I'm pretty sure, I don't want to quote this wrong. The guy is an awesome dude. He does that with motorcycle stuff. And I think it gets people involved in projects that they normally wouldn't even jump into, because this guy does a detailed explanation and videos replacing a clutch, right?
Right.
Like through this whole process, and I think he does it with meta glasses. Like if you were doing videos like that with meta glasses where you literally are just recording what you're doing.
I just got a pair. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And somebody could buy John's kit. Maybe they have it even sitting there and they're like, oh, this is too much for me. But you just made a video of you doing the whole process.
And the thing is, it's like that kit, like, it's a lot of work, but anyone can figure that out that has like a little bit of mechanical know-how.
Totally.
Because it
doesn't take much.
Yeah, if you've got a drill and like a tape measure and some sockets and some wrenches, like you can put that kit together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like you don't even need a welder.
You don't even need a welder. Like it's really, so through this whole process, the coolest thing that happened was I probably got a total of like 70 different comments or messages that were like, dude, I just got back in the garage for the first time in 3 years and picked up my project again, like after watching this. That's awesome.
I mean, honestly, it's motivated me to a certain degree because I've been doing my Duramax swap for 2 years.
Oh, you're doing what, John?
Uh-huh.
I can't believe it.
And between, the business is growing, which means that I'm like more busy with that.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to start too many projects or let them snowball too much. So my house has been down to studs and subfloor for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And luckily that's starting to get slowly wrapped up as I have time and funds to work on it. But I was like, I have to have the Duramax at the truck show.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then I thought about how much work you have accomplished
after
in
hours,
40 days.
After hours.
And I'm like, I'm just going to, it's happening.
Yeah.
Period. It has to happen.
Hell yeah.
I think your attitude is infectious. Like
thank you.
You make this, you also do a really good job of portraying that you're having a good time doing this.
I am.
Like, I think that's motivating. I think just your attitude is infectious because people think that you're having a great time. And they're like, dang.
That's not an act. That is true.
This truck project that I've been dicking around with and gave up on years ago because I wasn't having any fun. I think you make people feel like I can have fun with this again.
Well, you can. I mean, I think what makes it not fun is like, deadlines make things stressful. They suck. And there was an aspect of that. I really was trying to get like as much done as possible. But it's also, you almost have to like take a step back because it's not that serious. It's like, this is fun, and if you're not having a good time, move on to something else. And like, so there's things but there's always try to end the day with a win. There's days that truly suck, like doing a floor panel patch, not fun.
Which Ricky and I talked about this the other day because Ricky and I, he's like, man, he just made that look easy. He was having a good time. He's like, that sucks.
It's terrible.
Like Ricky made a comment about Ricky. So Ricky's an OBS GM.
Yeah.
And he made a comment the other day about how you just acted like it was no big deal and just
not fun. But you do it. And then at the end of the day, you feel so good.
Right.
You're like, because it's like you're done.
Yeah.
The end product's good, and the one thing that the point I've got to right now that actually like makes this more fun and enjoyable is like I will no longer like the mental option of like let's cut corners here and here like is not in there. And when you do cut those corners, you don't feel good about it.
No.
You just don't. And like, when you go about it in that way, like each individual thing, because here's the thing. The one thing I've like figured out about life, I guess, is if you do what you want to do, you're not going to be happy. Like, but if you do what you love, so like, what I want to do a lot of the time is to sit on the couch and eat chips and put something on the TV. And at the end of the day, I feel like crap, you get off work, you're tired. The kid, my 2-year-old was being a jerk, and like, and I was like, don't want to come out in the shop, but like you force yourself to. And then it's 11 p.m. and you're falling asleep, and it's like you just feel great. I got that done.
Yeah.
Got that done. Like the truck's making progress, and even if it's like on these, because this was up until like I'm trying to, like I said, position where I can kind of do these projects full time. But this was after hours, and I got some help. Like the second week, my dad came in from South Carolina. He like took care of the kids. So that second week, I was putting in like 14-hour days.
That's
every day.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think even people understand. Like, Yeah, it didn't get totally finished in the 40 days, but what has happened with this thing in 40 days?
It's crazy.
Is unreal, dude.
And I was going into work.
You kept a smile on your face the whole time.
I was going into work. You know, I was leaving a little early and stuff, but like we didn't have a receptionist during that first like 2.5 weeks. So it was like I was having to go into work and like dealing with a lot of, you know, work stuff. And my wife is 1 week on, 1 week off, and her weeks off. Like I have the kids, you know, and then even on her weeks where she's home, you know, I got to help with the kids. Like we got 3 kids and they have all their, you know, I'm like at gymnastics at 3, like, come on, you know.
Get back to
and, but so that's like the theme, I guess, of this project is like, you can get so much stuff done, like in the time that you would waste, you know?
Yes.
And even like I'm filming stuff and like editing at the end of the day. And to be honest, like I could get a lot more done if I wasn't doing that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But
I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because we've already gone almost an hour and a half. And then on the next episode, I want to get into the story of this truck.
Yeah, well, let's deep dive into like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
how this came about, who helped make it happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sweet.
Then to wrap it up, everybody, please comment. Let us know what you think of this. And don't forget about the OBS Truck Show, which is August 14th and 15th in Brooks, Oregon. And stay tuned for the next episode with Matt from Doc Johnson Restorations.
Are we calling him Matt?
That's fine. That's my name.
What else?
I think he's Doc now, right?
Oh, yeah. Or Doc.
Let's not give away his real name.
Yeah.
Oh.
And follow along. Like people that haven't, at this point, I think a lot of the OBS community obviously has.
Yeah.
If you haven't,
check it out.
Follow him. Obviously, from this little
thanks.
Your attitude is infectious, dude. Like,
appreciate that.
You can't watch your videos without a smile, and I think people should follow along. I think there's a lot more things aside from this coming from you that is very interesting. Very cool stuff.
Totally. Sweet. So we'll catch you on the next one.